Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at BattlBox Mission 86. Let's see what's in this box. Alright everybody, welcome back. So I got the box open here and kind of staged for the way I want to show you what's in the box. But this month we really got some useful stuff in this. I mean, I love BattlBox and I love getting it because you never know what you're going to find in there. But this one really hit it out of the park. I mean, this is all stuff, everything in here I will use. There is nothing in here that I think, you know what, I'll give that to a friend or I won't use it. Every single thing in here I'm going to end up using. There are some things in here that I actually thought about purchasing ahead of time and was like, I'll get it eventually. I didn't feel like getting it. And now I got it with BattlBox. And that's one of the cool things about BattlBox. It's kind of like a Christmas thing, kind of. You know, you open it up, you see what's in it, you're like, oh, wow, or, you know what, I don't really like that. Maybe I'll give it to a friend or sell it, or that's the cool thing about it. So, we're going to start off with something that I mentioned that I wanted to buy for myself and kind of put it off, and that is the Outdoor Element handheld pot gripper and fuel canister recycle tool. That's this guy here, and we're going to take it out of the package and show you it in action. But this little guy here, basically, if you have a pot or a pan that doesn't have a handle on it, and I know with the Trangias, that's a common thing, you know, the Trangia stoves, you can pull it out with this and not have to worry about burning your hands or finding some unique way with a bunch of leaves or a paper towel or something to get it off there. So what I'm going to do is cut this off here and show you how this thing works. My first thing with this is I realize how lightweight this thing is. And it feels very well made. You know, the movement on it is very smooth and nice, and it is dampened there so you don't have that metal hitting metal. It does have this little recycler on the end, and we'll explain that in a second. When you recycle the older canisters like this, or the canisters are not older ones, when you recycle empty ones, you want to make sure they're fully empty, and that's what this tool does. But, quickly, now this thing has more ways to pick it up than I can count. But if it didn't, this would work something like this. You go along here, push it on there, and pick it up. Same with a lot of the, I mentioned the Trangia stoves before. They usually come with pans that don't, this has handles, but some don't. And you can pick it up like that, cook it, move it, whatever, and let it go. Very, very handy, very, very lightweight. That's what really got me too. This thing is so lightweight. I believe, if I can find it again, I believe it's like 2 point something ounces. And that is really, really cool for you to 2.2 ounces. For those of you who want to carry something extra in your bag and you don't want to weigh it down a ton. Some of these are steel, some of these are made of heavier metals, and this thing is really neat. Now the fuel recycler, the fuel canister recycle tool, basically all it is a long pin in there that will go all the way into your canister and empty it if there's that little tiny bit left at the bottom, so you ensure that it's empty when you throw it out or recycle it. Even if you're not recycling them and you're throwing them out, it's very, very handy to empty them fully. I kind of hesitate to toss mine in the garbage because I never know if they're fully empty. And we don't have a place to recycle them out here, honestly, so I don't really know where I'd take it. But you will screw this onto the end here, like that, and put it on. Now, I'm not going to do it, of course, because this has fuel in it. And there are holes here where it will vent. You don't want to do this around open flame or anything like that, but there are holes where it will vent out. Very, very neat little item, and definitely handy when you don't want to mess around picking up hot pots and pans. Definitely an improvement over trying to get yourself a rag or something or a towel to grab the end of this. Now, of course, this, as I said, comes with handles, but many of these don't, and that is a very, very handy way to do it. So, that is the handled pot gripper and fuel canister recycle tool. They say it's a $14.95 value. I would say that's pretty good. Again, this was something that I meant to buy for myself. Not this particular unit, but one of them like it. And I kept looking at them going, I'll get it next time. I'll get it next time. Now I have it. So, pretty darn happy about that. Let's move on to the next item. All right, next up is definitely a company that I've loved over the years. And that's SOL, Survive Outdoors Longer. No, not SOL for what you're thinking. And these are the Firelight Fire Cubes. These are all-weather fire cubes. They're professionally grade. They're a fire starter that come through in the clutch. You know, this thing is waterproof. All sorts of different ways to light it. You can use a Ferro Rod. You can use matches, a lighter, pretty much anything. We're going to open it up and take a look, because I will be using these in my channel, being that I do end up starting a lot of fires. And they look almost as if they're gel of some kind. I'm going to cut one open here to show you that you can get fire with a single spark on these. So, we are going to try that. Alright. Yeah, they almost look like they're gel, but they're not. I don't know. I can't tell. we're going to discover it together. That's one of the neat things about doing these videos is we kind of sit here and learn this stuff together. All right, so we got that off. And I'm just going to pull it out here because I don't want to melt the plastic on my board here. Let's give it a shot here. Got my Ferro Rod and my striker. And we're just going to try it out and say, look at that. Yeah, that's no joke. I just pushed it once and it went. Sorry if I bumped the camera there. So definitely very, very cool. These will definitely last a good long time too because they're sealed very, very well. And I really, really like them. That's going to come in handy for doing those fires when it's a little bit damp wood or kind of wet outside or whatever. So let me put out this fire and we will move on to our next item. All right, next up, and this is going to round out your basic box. For those of you interested, this is the basic box. It's a $57.98 value. You get it for way less than that. And again, I now have a personal link to BattlBox. If you want to get stuff off there, I have some of the products that I recommend from them, as well as a personal link and a 15% discount code if you want to start getting subscriptions off this. Now that starts from the lowest to the highest. So if you want the biggest box or the smallest one, you're still going to get 15% off your subscription. So let's move out the final part of the basic box here, and that is the MO20 camping card multi-tool. Now I first saw this and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, you know, because we've seen so many of these types of multi-tools. But this is actually very well thought out, whole lot of little tools in this thing, and very well made and very lightweight too. There is a ferro rod that actually goes in this, if I can get it out of here. It's stuck in the bottom there. And that's right here. So we're going to be putting that in that little storage container on the bottom there. And there you go. So when you need the ferro rod, you're just going to slide that piece out and be able to use it. You have so many different rope cutting tools and measuring tools, angles for setting out your stakes for your tent. I mean, there's just so much stuff on here. It does come with a rope tensioner tool, okay, a tent peg puller, a rope cutter, and without missing a beat, it has that lovely little pry bar and ferro rod too. So this is actually something that, you know, I always used to think of these kind of tools as gimmicks until you really need one, and then they're very, very handy. So there's your little ferro rod right there after you stick it in. It comes taken out for storage. You have this little cutter on the end here, and when you're done with your ferro rod, you'll just put it right back in there. You even have a little flathead kind of screwdriver and a little sharp edge there. So it's definitely a handy little tool. Doesn't weigh hardly anything. And, you know, can opener, ferro rod, pot screwdriver, bottle opener, and a little sundial too. That's what that's for. Not putting out stakes or a tent. That's a sundial. So you can set this up and know what time it is. I thought it was for angles coming off your tent. And of course, being a ham, I start thinking radials for your antenna, but nope, that is a sundial. So that is a very, very neat little thing from Tactica. These are $34.95 on sale. So like I said, the basic box, what we got right here, these items, is a $57.98 value. And honestly, you know, when I do these videos, I do look this stuff up, and it's pretty darn close to the correct price. And maybe a few pennies more or less, but pretty darn close to the correct price. So I am definitely impressed with this little tool. As you can see, you even have a striker right in there to strike the rod with. It's a very sharp 90-degree spine inside there. So definitely a cool little item. And I definitely think it's something you would probably be able to use out in the field and definitely save you some time. So that is that little guy right there, camping card multi-tool. I'm actually going to stick that in my camp bag. Not my bug-out bags and stuff, because again, the bug-out bag stuff I kind of think is light as possible. But in my camp bag for handy little backup for a ferro rod and having the tent peg puller and all the other things, very cool item. All right, now we are going to move on to the next level, and that's the advanced box. And I'm going to show you what comes in that. It's $102.97 value. That's not what it costs, but that's what the value is. So let's move on to the next bunch of items in the advanced box. All right, this is the biggest thing in here, and that's probably why the box is so ridiculously long. This is the Kalalola camp table. Now, I've shown you in the past a lot of smaller camp tables. I even had that little Soto one that just kind of pops right up, and it's about this big and maybe that high off the ground. They are very handy items to have when you're camping. Your first trip camping, you're probably going to think, what the heck do I need a table for? I don't need that. I'm going to rough it. Then you get out there and realize something like that does come in handy. We are going to put this together on the floor real quick, but I want to show you how it works. This is perfect for vehicles, RVs, motorcycles, backpacks, whatever. It's super durable, very lightweight. I have set it up before. There are no tools required to set it up. Simply open the hinge leg support on the bottom and snap the two pieces over, snap the table on top of it, and we'll do that in a sec. and you'll see how easy it is. Now the dimensions on it, when it's set up, it's 22.5 inches by 18.38 inches. The height is 16 inches off the ground, and we are going to set this up and see what it's like. So let me back up the camera a little bit, and we'll put it over in the corner there, this way, and we'll set it up. All right, here we go. We got this down here. I'm going to open up. The right side would help. There we go. And you're going to have your actual table part here. This part here. Now this does come with protective tape on it when you first open this up, all the way across each one. Just peel it off, no big deal. Me personally, I would have preferred a different color other than blue. Nothing really wrong with it. I just kind of like earth tones when I camp. And if I am going to be using this, say, in some kind of survival situation, maybe I don't want to stand out from 100 yards away, and that will stand out here. But hey, you know what? I'm not complaining. You could always spray paint it. Okay. Next up is the actual piece itself, the base here. And the base, let's get this out of the way, it's just going to open up like that. Now you notice those two pieces that just flop to the side there. Those pieces are going to snap in the ends here. So I hope you're catching that on camera. There you go. And the other side, snap that in there, and you're done. Now on the bottom of this piece, and it does help to do this upside down. We're not going to do it like this. We're going to actually put this flat. You'll see these little ridges here, all right? That's where you're going to snap those into these corners on each side. So, yeah, you could probably do it like this, but honestly, it's a whole lot easier to flip this upside down and put the table on it. So I'm going to do that and show you what it looks like. So there you go. You're all set. It just snaps, it literally snaps right into place there. You can see it. And there is your table. I did get a little dirt on it, but that's a pretty darn sturdy table. That's not going anywhere. You know, I'm pushing down on that pretty hard. So definitely a very handy thing to have if you're going to be out camping and you want to be able to keep your stuff all in one place. I would be using this to, say, cook on maybe, eat on, keep my nightlight on inside my tent, maybe keep a radio on, whatever. If I'm working an event with ham radio, something like this, really handy. So I definitely like it. Let's put it back up all together, and we'll move on to the next item in the box. Now here's something that a lot of people don't think about, especially with emergency type sleeping in bug out gear and stuff like that, and that is a pillow. Now I know you're going to say, I'm going to rough it, I don't need a pillow, but then you get out there and you're stuffing your jacket under your head because your head's at a weird angle, or you're trying to find a piece of wood you can cover with your backpack, you know. Trust me, you're going to want a pillow. If you're over the age of 25, you're going to want a pillow. Same goes with a sleeping mat, and we'll get to that in a second. This is the Climate Pillow X. The neat thing about this is the design of it keeps your head kind of centered. You'll notice there's a little X actually in it. We are going to blow this up, and I'll show you what this thing is. But this is a very comfortable, it's also great for just resting, you know. If you just want to take a little quick nap, lean up against a tree or something, you have something like this. Now to open this up, you're going to open that nozzle. And there you go. A couple of quick breaths and that whole thing is ready to go. Very, very comfortable. You know, it may not look comfortable. Of course, it's not going to be your pillow from home. And it's not going to be your My Pillow that you're sitting there on your bed. But very comfortable. And I'll tell you something. I learned this with my very first camping trip when I was doing field day with my ham radio group in California. When I first became a ham, I was like, I don't need a pillow. Next thing you know, I'm trying to roll up my pants to stick under my head or my shirt, or some paper towels I brought. It really does make it a little bit easier to sleep. And it is a convenient little thing. I don't know that I'd use it as a sitting pad, but you might be able to get away with that too. To deflate this thing, you're just going to open it up and squash it down. Real simple. Now, one of the things I did notice when I was blowing this up is the chambers inflate at different rates. These two here were blowing up really quick, and then this one went and got it, and then this one went up and got it. So they will inflate at different rates. There's nothing wrong with your pillow. I've had others similar to this that have done it. Same deal. And there you go. It's deflated. You're ready to pack it up, put it back in your bag, and you're good to go. So definitely handy little item. And that is a, what is it, $24.99, so $25 value. And Climate stuff isn't cheap, so they're pretty close on the money with that. It's super lightweight and packable, 2.5 ounces. That's all it is. 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches by 1 inch thick. When it all seals up, you can get it smaller than this. It's about the size of a lighter. So Definitely a handy little thing to have. You can adjust it for weight and height and pressure. It's 30D polyester. It is washable, so if you spill something on it, you can always wash it off. So that's the Pillow X. Let's move on to the next thing. This is kind of cool. I have reviewed this in the past, so I'm not going to blow it up and put it out on the floor because you'll see it. But the next item is going to be something I think that everybody, I know at least I was when I first started getting a good bug out bag ready, was looking for. So let's check it out. All right, so this up next is, of course, what you thought it would be, the Climate Static V2. Now, I have reviewed this in the past, and I did blow it all up. It takes about 5 or 6 breaths for me, and this thing was nice and full, at least to the strength I like it. Most of these types of pads are very uncomfortable or very cumbersome if they are comfortable. This one is really, really comfortable. Nice V-shaped design. It can fit inside a sleeping bag, or you can just put it on the ground with your sleeping bag all on it. A lot of people think that this is about comfort. And to some extent, yeah, it is. It's also about insulation from the cold ground. If you live in a very cold climate, you don't necessarily want to put your sleeping bag on that cold ground there. You will absorb all that cold, and it's not good for you. So something like this, you can put down, blow up, put down, put flat, put your sleeping bag over it, and it will give you that little bit of insulation. Another neat thing about this, and I kind of discovered this and looked it up, and sure enough, it's really a feature. These rails here, when you blow it up, these side rails, what they'll do is kind of keep you cradled in the center of it. So when you lie in this, they'll kind of fold up on the sides, almost like a little bit like a crib. And what they'll do is they'll keep you centered. And just like the X on the pillow that keeps your head centered, that will keep you centered on that. So if you tend to move around a lot in your sleep and you're moving around all the time, that will help with some of the bit of keeping you in where you belong in the center. Supposedly this also has body mapping technology. So you get support and comfort no matter how you sleep, whether it's on your stomach or on your back. So it does have expansion zones as well, so that if you do fill it all the way up, there's still room when you lie on it for it to expand and kind of go. It's almost like a memory foam mattress. That's one of the things I said, and people kind of laughed at it when I did the review. I did the review ages ago. People kind of laughed at it, but I said, this kind of feels like it's custom fit for me. You know, it was really, really comfortable. So that right there is a $69.99 value, so $70 value, and yeah, they really do cost that much. So Climate makes some really, really good gear, and like I said, everything I've gotten in this box so far, I'm going to use, definitely. I mean, I'm going to either save it for another bag or change something out that I had. This thing, I'm going to be using this in my videos all the time because I'm constantly out here cooking and trying to pull stuff off, so we're definitely going to be using that when we use our Esbit stoves or our other smaller stoves, or the Trangia stoves that has the pot with no holder on it. So definitely going to be using that. So far, everything out here, I'm loving. That thing, the fire cubes were awesome. But we're going to move on to the last item, okay? The last item rounds out to make it a $306.95 value. That's the value of what you're getting for the item. Not the price of the Pro Plus box, but the value of it. And the last item is going to be right here. We're not even going to stop the camera for it. The Atac Phantom. Now, at first, when I looked at this knife, it is a knife. It is a $109 value. When I looked at this knife, I'm thinking to myself, it's a nice looking knife, but would I pay $109 for it? And I wasn't really sure. You know, that last box we did, I had that beautiful Bushcraft knife. Really, really nice, and I've used it a lot since then. But I got to tell you something. Then I picked it up and started messing with it. And this, I'll bring you up close here. This is not only a very nice looking knife, but extremely nice to use. I was really, really impressed with it. It's VG10 steel. Takes an edge very, very well. You know, I've had my experience with VG10. This thing came ridiculously sharp. As you can see, I am shaving hair off, along with some of my dry skin. Don't look at that. But honestly, this is a nice knife, and I am actually going to replace the cheapy knife that I carry with this. Now, the only disappointment I had on it was that the back doesn't have a 90-degree spine. So I'm not going to be striking any ferro rods with it, but let's face it, I got a ton of other stuff with me every day that I carry that can strike a ferro rod. And really, in an emergency, I can use the blade if I have to. So I'm not really worried about that. Not only that, but I look back here in this copper-colored rear end piece here that's for a lanyard. I could easily use that as well. That isn't a prerequisite for me, especially for an everyday carry pocket knife. But this thing is really, really nice, really comfortable in your hand. Really, really like it. Another nice thing too, and it kind of tripped me out because these scales, I looked at them and I said, oh, no, that's going to slip out of my hand the first time it gets wet. The weird thing about them is they're almost like a very fine truck bed liner finish on them. And it's not the finish, it's actually the metal. It's almost like it was bead blasted heavily. It really just fits right in your hand and it doesn't feel slippy at all. It is a very strong, you can see, a very strong liner lock. When we close this back up, that is dead center. So that thing is perfect. Opening it is a breeze. It opens real easily. It isn't assisted, but it's definitely got some kind of bearings in there because it opens just like nothing. So, again, for those of you guys that are big-time knife people, and you're watching this channel going, this guy doesn't know how to review a knife. No, I don't. I'm not a professional knife channel. For my personal use every day, a knife like this would be worth $100 to me. Am I going to go out and spend like $2,300 on a pocket knife? Heck no. You know, beautiful to look at, some of them, but I'm not going to do that. But would I spend $100 on a quality, well-made knife? Absolutely. So that is the Atac Phantom. Really nice. What is it? Let me read you the info. First of all, I noticed this. This thing is super lightweight. The other one I'm carrying was a cheaper knife that, believe it or not, actually really worked well. But it was heavy. It was very heavy in my pocket. So this one, of course, isn't as heavy. You've got a 3 1/4 inch blade. Overall length is 8 inches when it's open. Closed is 4.34. 125 grams or 4.4 ounces. And let me tell you something. It feels quality. I know folks will look at this and go, I wouldn't pay that for that. But when you pick it up in your hand and you see, it just really feels like a quality, well-made knife. And I haven't even oiled it or sharpened it. And you saw how sharp that came out of the package. I'll give you a look at that blade. It's almost like a sort of a clip point, but it isn't. It doesn't dip down enough. But it's a really nice blade. And I think for everyday carry, a pocket knife, this thing definitely hits it out of the park. And it's a nice looking knife too. You know, I'm not above judging stuff by aesthetics to some extent. If I opened that thing up and the blade was a mess and it was cheap steel and it wouldn't hold an edge, I don't care how good it looks. I'm not going to carry it with me. But it's definitely a nice little thing. And the VG10 steel is a nice addition. It's not cheap 440 stainless or something. You know, it's an actual decent steel. So I'm impressed with it. Definitely a nice little knife that I wouldn't have bought for myself because I wouldn't have thought about it just to look at it. But once I picked it up, I was like, wow, okay, so that is definitely different. So anyway, that is the whole deal. Remember, this is the Pro Plus box. This has everything in it for the month. You can buy at any level you feel comfortable with. And again, if you don't have your preps in order, your food preps and your water and stuff, I don't suggest any kind of subscription boxes. You want to get your preps in order first. These are nice to get once you're already set up. I mean, let's think about it. You're an average guy. You spend maybe $25 a month on the BattlBox. You get yourself that and that and that. You're doing pretty good. I mean, you've got tools you're going to use, as opposed to some other boxes that I've tried where it's just like, how would I equate this into survival? So BattlBox so far to me has been very good. Now, we do have another company that's coming on board with us that has subscription boxes. And I kind of researched them a bit, and I was very impressed with the stuff they were offering. So we will be showing those in the future, but for today it's just the BattlBox. And I got to say, I'm really impressed with it. So don't forget, my link down below, if you want to buy any of these individual items, they usually show up a little bit after the month when the BattlBox is out. My page will have them. I have some featured items there, but my page will have, if you go to it, you can go search for the individual items. Like, let's say you want to buy this sleeping pad, or you want to buy that handler, you know, the pot gripper. You can buy that only. You don't have to buy the whole box. So, as well as you can get that 15% discount using my code Iridium24. If you're interested in going there, check it out. I have all my links on that page for BattlBox. So you not only be able to pick up the stuff individually, but you'll be able, if you want to start a subscription and save 15% on it. Anyway, folks, that's the video for today. Don't forget to check out our Amazon store down below. I did tell you the other day about Mountain House shutting down production in the stores. So whatever's in the stores, that's it. The only way you're going to get Mountain House now, until they said about July, is to order it online. So if you want to get some freeze-dried food that's super high quality, and if you use my link, save 15% on it, there's freeze-dried wholesalers right down there. Check them out. My link saves you 15%. And, you know, I was told the other day by the person who owns the company, if for some reason you order from me, okay, and it shows that you clicked my link and you didn't get the discount, just email me. I have a Facebook page. My email is on my profile page. You have to do that stupid, you know, click to verify you're a human stuff, but it's there. Email me, put whatever the issue is in capital letters in the title, and I will have it taken care of for you. We already had one gentleman who ordered something and it got confiscated by customs, and they've never had a problem with customs before. He got a refund. We fixed it for him. So this guy is very responsive. Him and I are emailing each other back and forth because we can't believe how many people are buying the food. And I'm really glad to see that. I'm glad to see people getting prepared. You know, it's good to see it for once and for all. So definitely check them out. The link saves you 15%. We have My Patriot Supply down below. That's preparewithiridium.com. Preparewithiridium.com. If you order down from there, you will see we have a deal going for a 4-month kit. You'll save $150 off that. And it was affordable to begin with. So if you're looking to put in a lot of food quickly, that's the way to do it. Oh, underneath that, our Thrive Life freeze-dried food store. I just want to say welcome to all my new consultants who have signed up. Last month I got a bunch of new consultants under me, and I was really happy to see that. You guys, I hope you do really, really well. And if you have any questions about Thrive, shoot me an email. If I don't know it, I will email somebody. I'm in a bunch of Thrive groups online as well on Facebook. Just email me the question and I will get it answered for you. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.